by becoming rich.
Take all your money and buy Bitcoin.
You can wake up every morning and say GM.
GM. GM. So, welcome. Today is the 1st of November. Happy November, I guess. This is Daily Levels, and it's Friday. So first thing, it's the start of the month, and some people were expecting a trading competition. We have trading competitions in the campus every now and then, and typically we had one in September. We had one a few months back. I don't do them every 2 months, but originally the plan was to have it in November. That's still happening, okay? But I want to give as many of you a chance to get involved as possible. So it's not starting at the beginning of the month. It's going to be a different one. We're going to have a different format to how the competition runs. So stay tuned for that. It'll be coming in the next week or two, and it'll run into December. So it's just not going to go from the 1st to the 1st. Doesn't really matter. Going to be doing something a bit different. Also, I have a lot of stuff going on pre-election and post-election. So crossover stream with Professor Ayush. That's this Sunday. Talking about the pre-election. Got monthly preview to do today. Got weekly outlook to do on Sunday. Got the election. Going to be streaming probably all night for the election, or at least a lot of it. And what else? Man, we've got Adam. Crossover stream with Professor Adam, which is going to be probably on the 6th of November. So lots and lots and lots of stuff. Therefore, the competition in a different format has been pushed back slightly. The rule will be the same though. The one entry requirement is that you must be a blue belt or above. So you have to have passed white belt, done your back testing, put in your work. Whether you have trading experience or not, it's very simple to get through white belt. It's proving to me that you're consistent and that you care. It's not about saying, I know how to trade. Then you'll get through it easy. Super easy. But you can't skip it. It's about consistency. So, get through there. You get all the good stuff. Also, you'll see live trading streams. If you're not in Blue Belt, I was live for 3 hours last night on the monthly open. So I went live at the daily open, monthly open, and traded live. 3 hour stream. And it was a fucking banger. I enjoyed it. You also get that, blue belt and above, because it unlocks all the trader chats. So that's enough bootcamp shilling. Let's look at Bitcoin. So we've had our monthly close. G fucking M to this. Am I going to say, should I collect clout? I think I can collect a little bit of clout for October. If you go back to the October monthly preview, I mentioned, just as we opened October's candle, we will have a down move at the start of the month, because September closed really well, closed with this nice green candle, but obviously, just look at the candles. This isn't like a genius thing, this is just basic logic. Every candle, monthly, will have a lower and an upper wick. Almost every single one of them. Excluding very, very rarely, like January 2023, where it went straight off the open and never came back. So, in saying that, when we're in a range, of course there was going to be a down wick. But I mentioned that if you want a bullish month, down wick will come early. We did that. We went down for about 10 days, rallied up late. I didn't think we'd go that high, but I did think we would close with an upper wick. So, we got that. A strong October, but not a breakout. That was my exact view. And then the same in November, a consolidation in November and a breakout December. So October's played out. Let's see how it goes for November and December. I am pretty sure, in fact, I'm very, very confident that the way we closed October means we don't break out in November. And I think I don't know if a lot of people will feel this way too, or if they'll be sort of hoping and coping that it's going to happen. It's much more likely if we do November, it's more like that. Right, so like we came up in December after a 3-month rally that time, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th month. December pushing into the ETFs. Looked really good. throughout the mid part of December, but closed just with an upper wick, just showing a little bit of sell pressure coming in. And then January, obviously with the ETF launch, January had this big move up to begin with, and then flushed all the way back down and closed about flat. So not a bearish month, it was literally a green month. Then February took off. So I think we'll see something like that. I think we will see November having a consolidation. I think there will be up, I think there will be down, and I think we finish it again, green or flat. I'll cover that more in monthly preview though, because this is daily levels. So zooming in, I was on the live stream talking about this last night. With Bitcoin coming down to 70, holding it, the first day of the month is a green day. It is very much skewed. These are Bitcoin's mean returns by day of the month since 2014, so the last 10 years. And it definitely skews towards a green first of the month. And second and third as well can be good. However, the first, we had a red 31st, which bucked the trend slightly. You know, I've seen more of this recently. This would say that you'd typically see some green on the last day of the month. But certainly we have been more in line with red. There was a red 30th September, red 31st of October. So last day of the month, last month was a dump. Last day of the month, this month was a dump. I've already seen people on Twitter saying, oh, look, the down move's going to come now, and they think it's going to go lower. I'm not. I think that this was rare. It was rare for there to be a red first day of the month. Pretty rare. So I put it in trading analysis somewhere, didn't I? My basic expectation is a rally today, and that'll take us into the weekend. So we've also hit the daily bands. Good place to reverse from. I'm long, obviously, the long trade I'm in started as a day trade. It's all scalp day trade. It's all detailed in the day trader stream. But I'll talk a bit about it on trade of the day as well. And this rough path. Bitcoin will bounce on the first. And I do think we'll go back and take the low. And then we'll push into the highs. Now, we might not. We might just push straight to the highs. But the way I'd be watching this now, if you're looking at it on a lower time frame, would be today. We see green, which we're already seeing. Wherever it goes, I don't know, but we see green. Then we're into the weekend. So the weekend is likely to be just wherever it gets to. It's likely to be just sideways, okay? And then off Sunday, you'll see the next directional move. I wouldn't be surprised to see the market come back down towards the lows, maybe to the lows, maybe take the lows out, or put in a higher low. I don't know. It's either going to do this, right? Or it's going to do this, where it goes a bit lower, takes out those lows, and then I think we begin the run to all-time high. And I do think November tackles that all-time high, but I also think it doesn't stay there. So this would align with the election too. There's going to be some election fuckery or election chop. If I'm just viewing this pure price action, I don't think that a full V reversal off this pre-election dump, and there are some interesting pre-election. Well, when I say interesting, I was going to put this in monthly preview, but it's not really worth putting in. It's not statistically significant, but if you look at 2016 and 2020, both of them have a very consistent and similar, I guess you would call it, tendency to have a shakeout a few days before the election. And in fact, not just a few days, but exactly either the Wednesday or Thursday pre-election, Bitcoin has a shakeout. Now, it only has 2 data points because 2012 Bitcoin is, let me actually see. I need to get a different chart here. 2012 Bitcoin is a bit hard to draw much conclusion from, but we'll do it. But I definitely know that I remember the one from 2020, which is over here. You'll see it now in a sec. September going into end of the year. Right, here we go. The election in 2020 was the 3rd of November over there. We had a shakeout on the Wednesday before it, Wednesday 28th. That shakeout came down near the bands, didn't quite hit them, And if you zoom it in, you'll see some similarities in terms of this shakeout. All right. So here we go. In 2020, we had that. So we had Bitcoin rising. It was in a bullish trend. On the Wednesday before the election, we rallied up, we flushed back over to here. On the Tuesday before the election, we rallied up, we flushed back on the Thursday for our pre-election shakeout. Now, if it plays anything similar, then that will get bought and will hold until the election, and at least attempt to go for the highs. In this example, we hit the high. This wasn't all-time high. This was going through the range, but we rallied up, we hit the high, consolidated, moved up. The election day was over here. This is when the results come out, I believe. The Biden win, and then the market continued higher. Fractals don't play out, so first thing to say, like it doesn't just repeat. But the idea of a pre-election shakeout itself at some point does make sense, and the fact that there's some kind of time element that's very similar, because that is Wednesday pre-election, this is Tuesday pre-election, is very interesting. If you go to 2016, it was actually on the Thursday, so it was the exact same time. The election's always Tuesday, so yesterday we had our shakeout on Thursday. If you go back to 2016, you'll see the same thing here. We have November 16, there we go. And we have the election, October, where are we? November. It was on November 8th was the election. And our shakeout was the Thursday before. Market moved up. Pre-election. We'd been in a strong rally up. Massive shakeout on the Thursday. Market then consolidated. There's Trump's win. Right, there's Trump's win and the overnight Tuesday going into Wednesday. Retraced all the way back for a retest, which again is like why I'm saying, regardless of how this moves, obviously it can go lower, but even if it's going to go higher, it's unlikely. You just don't see V reversals. I mean, this was as close to one as you'll get. It came up off the lows and rally, and Trump wins. Oh my God, fucking send it to the moon, and then goes back for a bullish retest. Nothing bearish about this. But in this example, it doesn't break out proper until nearly a month later. The shakeout was 3rd of November. The actual breakout was 1st or 2nd of December. And there's all this chop in between. So if we see a really strong reaction, a strong rally up to the highs, I'm not expecting it to break out right away. Part of why I think December for this move is similar to that. I've been thinking all along that we would have a good October. We'll have a good kind of bullish consolidation November, and then the proper breakout December. Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. Certainly looks to me that way when I zoom out on the chart. This does not look like a chart that's ready to break out. This looks like a chart that needs to... So we're basically forming a consolidation. Right? It's pulled back quite deep. Assuming it doesn't go lower, which could happen, there are paths for that. And that'll be based on how the bounce goes, right? So if the bounce is weak, you might see a failure to return, FTR, and you might see a push all the way to those lows, and then a build up from there. Right? That would be like a November candle that sweeps out the October candle, or sorry, not the October candle, sweeps half of October in the midpoint. So you still would have a bullish monthly chart, just with a deeper shakeout in between. But regardless, we set a high at all-time high. We had quite a deep, fast sell-off, which is good. If this rallies back to the highs, I would see that as a retest and probably comes back and retests again. So I think we're going to test both sides of this and then break out. And that's probably going to take a little bit of time. The market now is more likely to set up for some consolidation before breakout rather than just ripping straight on. Now it can just rip straight on. If that happens, I would expect it to push probably to 75, 78, 79 and then have a pullback from there. From what I see, massive open interest increases, a lot of ETF FOMO, and the ETFs have reversed their previous day's trend. BlackRock still had a positive day, but there was a lot of outflows across the rest of them. So from all the bullish inflows, they've started puking. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like I say, if ETFs are buying the top and it's not good, then if they're puking on the first fucking 3% down move, that's not bad either. But we're setting up well. I think, for a strong rally, then some consolidation. And I think that today will probably close green within that. So that's Bitcoin flows, first day of the month price action, pre-election price action. Looking good, GM. I will, just before I go, we'll look at total 2, and total 3. Yeah, so total 2 and total 3 are in much less bullish shape than total itself. Not a bad thing, right? Alts are lagging as they have been, and you would prefer to see Bitcoin leading, of course. But this doesn't mean that everything's really bullish, right? A bullish chart is a chart that's breaking out and rising. So you have to be careful when you say, because it becomes quite conventional wisdom that people are like, oh, it's good, alts need to be weak, Bitcoin strong, that's great. You don't want alts to be weak. You want Bitcoin to be strong and alts to also be rising, but not as much. Right? You do want to see capital flowing into the market. Because if you really think that there aren't people getting long as fuck here, you're crazy. Right? Because even though it's not broken out, even though it's not trending up, and Bitcoin's going up higher and Bitcoin's stronger, people are like, okay, that's good. You know, Bitcoin's rising, so I'll just build my alt positions. How many people do you think are just getting balls long alts here because they're like, well, this is just going to break to the upside, right? And you mean you're giving me 3 or 6 weeks to fill my alt bags? Wow, what a gift. Yeah, market doesn't give gifts. So a perfect scenario would be for alts to be here where they're consolidating above resistance and Bitcoin's at the door of all-time high. I mean, in comparison, Bitcoin's like here already. That's where Bitcoin is right now. It's at its 2024 highs and it's at all-time high. So you don't necessarily want to see alts below resistance. You would rather see them just up here. They're still behind Bitcoin because Bitcoin's there, but they're in a positive trend. So be mindful of that. Alts are not bullish yet. That means if Bitcoin has a further pullback, alts can absolutely go lower here. And it's just purely offside positioning. Because if you look at altcoins from the 22nd to the 2nd, go and look at your individual alts on those time frames, and you'll see. And I'll talk a little bit on monthly preview about that. So you've got some alts that are doing much better. Like this is why Solana is the best alt, right? This is exactly what you want to see. You want to see your alt not as strong as Bitcoin because Bitcoin's at the highs, but your alt is above resistance and consolidating. That means it's in a much better position to actually kick on once the flows go from Bitcoin down the risk curve. If you're looking at, for example, ETH is not good. So ETH is lagging hard, and is not, even remotely close to being bullish. If you look at WIF, it's the same kind of thing. WIF is below its previous resistance. So you don't want to see it necessarily here. You would rather see it just there. And that's fine. But I said earlier, like I said the other day, I mean, WIF, or on altcoin requests yesterday, WIF probably has many more weeks to go of sideways. And Pepe, same kind of thing, right? So Pepe is not strong here. Pepe is at the lower end of its range. And there's just, again, the takeaway of this is it's not bad for alts to be like this. It would be bad for alts to be above all-time high while Bitcoin isn't. The big alts. I know there's obviously, Giga and Sigma and stuff like that, but they're much lower caps. Something like MOG. I mean, that's pretty good there, right? So you've got an altcoin like MOG, which has flipped its previous resistance into support, is consolidating below all-time high, while Bitcoin gears up for a breakout. So if MOG spends the next few weeks like this, and Bitcoin goes higher, and then MOG starts to break out, I mean, that's one of the ones with best momentum. Rather than some other coin that's like trying to grind its way through its own range. Like Render, for example. Not a good chart. Fetch. Not great, right? Moved up, tried to break out, failed, it's back below. So these are ones you would just have not on your radar at the moment. And so on and so on and so on. Sui, I mean, it has to clear this because that's a deviation at the all-time high, but not the worst. Again, it's trying to build its way back up. Now it needs to make a new high, And if it does that, and you see it like that, and Bitcoin, it's not leading Bitcoin, it's lagging behind still, but it's at the doorstep all-time high, these are the better ones. So you'll watch these develop over the next few weeks. And that is it. GM. See you later. With Casual Fridays today, I'll probably do monthly preview. I might do double stream. I'll either record monthly preview separate, or I'll do a double stream. First part of it being monthly preview, second part being Casual Fridays. And I'll let you know. GM.